Well, hello, and welcome to this week's Brand Breakthrough Show. Very exciting show lined up for you today, and I'm using some new technology. So I hope that this is going to work flawlessly. I am putting it out there to the universe that it's all going to work marvelously. Just going to go across to Facebook because I'm using Be Live. I've seen Jamie using Be Live really successfully. So I thought I'd give it a go and see how it works. So let's just go across to the Facebook group and see if this is live. It looks like I am. Annemiek is there. Hello. Wow. Okay. So awesome. So I'm going to see the live comments and everything on here. There you go. You're getting live streaming of live learning. So I hope you've had a fabulous week this week. And this week's content, I'm very, very excited because we are focusing on how do you make global impact using your brand. How do you really get that brand out there, changing lives, making a difference to the people whose lives that you want to touch the most. And I tell you what, it's been quite a journey as we have done this. I mean, it's been a complete baptism by fire. If you've been to any of our Brand Builders members days over this last 12 months, which I can't believe that it's nearly 12 months that we've been going there. Okay, perfect. I can't actually see who it is that is saying hello. Daniel. I can't see the actual names. For some reason, it's not telling me. All I can see is the actual comments. So this will be fun. So yeah, it really, we've had a little bit of a live interview. Jamie Gilliland at each of the events was asking me, James, who's the operations director for the Brand Builders Club, asking our ambassadors, what's it been like to be a part of this journey as we've grown and scaled this business? And there's so many learnings, and I wanted to share some of those with you tonight, as well as sharing my dear friend Paul Dunn with you as well. So yes, gosh, there's so many experiences that we've really learned from. The good, bad and ugly over this last 12 months of launching the Brand Builders Club. And the main thing that I really have learned is, and we already know that the importance of the team is obviously important as you're growing and scaling anything, but how you build a team and then replicate that team in other countries. That's been a significant learning curve for us as we've really branched out. And I really would say to you, the way that I have done it, and I think the reason it has been as effective as it has, is because I created an organizational chart for the business. So I'm just going to show you. Hello. I'm actually, let's come and see because I can't see your names in here. So let's see who we've got here. Lubna, Annemiek, Daniel. Hello. Awesome. So if you've got any questions as we go through tonight's show, then do put them in the comments box underneath this video. If you're watching the replay on YouTube, then again, you can put your comments there and I will respond to those as quickly as I can. But really the first thing that I would say as you're building any kind of brand, actually, this is effective, even if you're building a brand where you're only dealing with local customers, but if you're doing that and it's all you at the moment, you're going to get to a point where you can't scale that, you can't grow it, you can't make a bigger impact because there's only you in the business. And of course, when there's only you, there's a cap on your time and your money. So it's a case of building out a structure, even though you don't know who's going to be in those places yet. So let me do you a drawing. I like drawing. Do you like drawing? I know Annemiek is a big fan of creativity. In fact, I'm delighted to share that Annemiek is one of our sponsors for our Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit, which is happening on the 7th to 9th of December. So I'm very excited. Annemiek is going to be delivering live drawing. She's going to be sketching the day. So as our presenters are presenting, Annemiek is going to be sketching them. She's doing her research now on our speakers and creating a whole flow that really captures and encapsulates the event and how freaking awesome it's going to be. So I'm very, very excited about that. Now I'm just trying to find a pen that might be good enough to demonstrate this for you. But here's what I want you to do. And if you watch the replay of this, or you are watching the replay of this, you can press pause so you can go and do this yourself. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to run you through it first, and then you can do it at any time. So this is how I built out our leadership teams for the Brand Builders Club. Now, taking a bit of a step back, I realized when we started to go into the different countries that, I mean, there was no way I was going to be able to do that on my own. I needed feet on the ground in those regions, in those locations, so that they could support our members locally, as well as us being able to support people globally. And so I reached out to my existing members, the people that I thought would be most excellent at really building out those areas of the Brand Builders Club in those regions. And I just reached out to them. So I want you to think about, who do you already have in your network that can support you with the growth of your business, because you're surrounded by a treasure chest of the most amazing people all the time. So I reached out to my ideal customers, and that's what I would encourage. Right, let's hope that it's come back now. So it's a little bit bitty. Hopefully it's going to start coming back to you. I've only got a few windows open, but I will close them just in case. Can you hear me? If you can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and you can see me again. So let's get back to where we were. So the organizational chart is really important, because when I selected the key person that I wanted to be the leader of those regions for my business in those countries, what I realized pretty quick was that they were getting bogged down in a lot of work to do. So this is when I stepped in and said, right, okay, I think I need an organizational chart in each of the locations that we have the Brand Builders Club, so that we can make sure that the job is divided, and then there's, you know, people, a whole team of people that are doing smaller things that are manageable. So I'm just checking back in on Facebook just to see how we're doing. It looks like, and we're back. Good, good. Okay, so here's how I did my organizational chart and how I recommend you do yours. So, where's the camera? So, clean sheet of paper, just A4, doesn't need to be anything special. It could be on any pad, flip chart, whiteboard. It could be on whatever you want to draw it on. But the first thing you want to do is draw you up here. Can you see that? Here's you. You are not in the picture of your business, okay? You are then going to map out your organization without you in it. And this is the key for you, whether you're growing anything, whether it's a local business, a global business, but especially a global one, because we're talking about building a global brand this evening, is to remove yourself from the equation. And now, in this box here, start padding it out. Now, when I first started doing this, I had admin, accounts, designer, web, technology, because I needed someone to program in emails, you know, and it looks it looked like that. It didn't have any names under it. It just had, these are the functions. These are the individual functions that enable my business to run without me in it. And once I created that, it made an enormous difference, not only to the team leaders. At the time, it was Isabella Nivia-Dumpsker, God bless her, Anja Kruska for Holland, is Isabella in the UK, and Anja Kruska for Holland, and Donna Fornillo came on for Florida. Okay, looks like it's paused again. Okay, we're going to have a few glitches, I think, by the looks of it. So those three people, they were just delighted, because then we started to look internally again at our team. So who were the very best members that would fit those profiles within the team? Now, obviously, as an organization, you're going to need someone to look after your web. You're going to look someone to look after your emails, someone to look after your accounts, somebody to service your customers. So you need customer service. You need admin. you're going to need tons of different things. And actually, for those of you in the Brand Builders Club, there is a sheet that that I created. Just ask for it. I'll put it up into the file section of the Facebook group, and also in our online learning center, so that you can download it. And there's a list of all the roles that you could possibly need in a business for it to run without you, so that you can really step in to the position of being that brand ambassador and enjoying your business and making money while it works for you. So that's a key thing. That was one of the biggest learnings that I had this year. I created an organizational chart for my business 3-4 years ago, but I hadn't done it for my products. So think about your individual products as well. If you haven't mapped out your organizational chart as a business, I really highly advise that you do that. And when it comes to your products, think about an organizational flow for that product to go from customer searching for it. So what that customer gonna need to see to be able to search for that, to buy it, for it to be delivered to them, for aftercare, for the upserve, because there's going to be, once you've solved one problem, it's going to open up another problem. You know, like once I've cured invisibility for you, you're going to have an organizational issue because an accounts issue, because you've got so much money coming in and so much visibility. And how are you going to manage your time? How are you going to be productive if you've got speaking opportunities coming in? When you're doing what I'm doing, flying all around the world, how do you organize that? So, you know, a problem is created every time you fix something, every time there's a solution. So really, you know, growing any kind of business, but especially a global one, it really takes you being more structured, being more strategic, and also considering the cross-cultural aspect of your brand as well. So as you expand your brand and expand your business, I mean, you've got different cultures that are living around you wherever you are now. You don't have to go across the world to meet with, I think that froze then. You don't have to go across the world to meet somebody from a totally different country or culture. You know, that person could be living next door to you. Certainly when you put a Facebook post out or a Twitter post, or you post a video on YouTube, you know, whenever you're live, when you're delivering something, and you're doing it via social media, then you're reaching many, many more lives than you have just on your doorstep. So there's the cultural aspect. We did a whole section on outsourcing on our Members Day in September and October. If you haven't seen it yet, the recordings of our of the outsourcing, I think it was like seven deadly mistakes to make with outsourcing, and Jamie and I delivered that, and Chris Gruty also came on board to deliver that when we were over in Orlando. And so, you know, just really consider as you're, you know, we talked about this during that section. So when you start to outsource, remember that there are, you know, different cultures have different things that are acceptable to them. And, you know, if you're fast, and it looks like it's frozen again. This is so frustrating. If you're fast, and yet you work with a culture who, you know, to them, it's like, you know, in my own time, that's going to frustrate you. So you need to just be aware as you start to grow your business and as you start to expand globally and doing business with people that have that kind of culture as well. Sometimes they're not working to the same deadlines as you are. And that can become quite stressful sometimes. And yeah, so I just wanted to really highlight a couple of those things as you're making a big impact with your brand. You know, as you're starting to get your books written and published, as you're starting to speak on stages, as you're starting to really make a name for yourself and or your business, depending on what you're growing and how, and your products are going to be out there selling themselves as well, hopefully. And if they're not yet, then they will be when you follow the online training that we have in the Online Learning Center. Then, you know, you'll be making an impact that means that there's going to be a demand on your time. So just think about if you had an influx of 100 customers spending £20,000, dollars or euros with you right now, could you service them within the next 30 days at no more than 4 hours a day? That's a key question for you to answer, because as you're growing and scaling, if you can't even deliver that kind of locally in what you're doing, then just consider that before you start to go global with the impacts that you're making. So I'm just gonna just check in on Facebook and see how it's going, see if you're all there and all good. Okay, so it looks like unstuck now. Okay, awesome, I am back. Yeah, it's I think because of the we don't have great internet here anyway, and this is the best internet we can get for where we live. You know, I'm streaming from my phone straight onto this. And it's been fine using Zoom all day, but maybe Be Live uses some extra juice that I wasn't aware of. So, okay, so what I want to do, I want to share with you my very, very dear friend, Paul Dunn, who is currently, here I am, I'm stuck, I'm going to sing while we're stuck. Okay, we're unstuck. I shouldn't sing, actually, you all abandoned me. So yeah, my good friend Paul, he wanted to be here live with you today, but he is speaking at a conference for 5,500 people in Silicon Valley, where Steve Jobs and some of the greatest brands have launched at this conference center. And like Hewlett Packard, he used to do a lot of stuff for Hewlett Packard. He's built several of his own global businesses and an enormous business that he's built now. And I feel like I've done him out of some credibility, because as I was preparing the stream for this, as I was preparing and sending the notices out to come and be a part of this this live show tonight, I said that he'd made over 50 million impacts, and I was completely wrong. When he counted it today, it was over 162 million impacts. No, 163, I'm doing them out of it again, 163,200,000 impacts, I believe. And when you consider that him and his wife Masami only started the Buy One, Give One initiative just over 10 years ago, to have changed the lives of over 163 million people, well, that takes some persistence. It takes courage. It takes certainly brain power and time and life. It takes blood, sweat, and tears sometimes, I'm sure. But it also takes the ability to really contribute. And so I interviewed Paul earlier today because he couldn't be here live with you, and I still wanted you to get the value from Paul. And oh my goodness, the interview was phenomenal. I'm going to share my screen with you, this is why I'm testing Be Live, because there's a Facebook Live, which I do every week for the Brand Breakthrough Show. I couldn't share my screen. So I've invested in this to be able to share my screen, so I hope it's going to work. But, you know, Paul is one of the most beautiful souls that I've ever met. And if you are coming to the 3-day conference in December, which is called the Vision, Voice and Visibility Summit, you will be in for a treat, because Paul is flying in from Malaysia to speak on how to innovate a global brand, how to innovate a brand that really impacts on people and really creates influence. Higher setting of resolution, then you are likely to use more. So try, I'm on 480, I think. Well, that was the one I picked. Thank you, Gospello. Keep calling you Gospello, your gospel. Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen. I certainly hope that I can, because I've got his video on here for you. And I will have to look at my Facebook on my phone just to make sure that it is streaming. But let me press the share facility. Let's see if it will do that. Okay, can you see my screen? I'm going to go to Facebook now. And the first question that I asked Paul was quite a fundamental one, and I think, well, I hope that it's one that you also have. Let me just double check and make sure that you are seeing my screen at the same time that I am. If you could give me a thumbs up, or just let me know that it's working, that would be cool. because I want to make sure that you get access to this whole video. Okay, let's see. Can you see me? The thing is, on Facebook, I'm looking at Facebook now, and it's about a minute behind, I think. So I'm just going to share it and hope that you hear it. But my first question to Paul was around analysis paralysis, because I know that as business owners, we get sometimes, there's so much to do. And especially if you're building a global brand that you're making an impact, you know, millions of people are going to see that. So you're going to create your content and you're creating it once, but, you know, millions of people can see that content because it's one-to-one many times. And so, you know, how do you build a global brand where you've got all these balls you're juggling and still manage everything? How do you make sure that you don't go into analysis paralysis or procrastination or any of the real killers of business? So that was my first question to Paul. I'm going to turn this up and enjoy.
You don't analyze it because, you know, otherwise you get sort of paralysis of analysis, and you just go for it. I mean, take the presentation that I'm about to do. Have I done that presentation before? No. Am I you know, going out on a limb on certain things that I'm going to be doing? Yes. Will it work? I hope that. But I will never know. I will never know. So many of us try and process the thing up here rather than experiencing something. We hang around until we try and make it perfect. And our gift, the real gift that's inside us, just doesn't get out for whatever reason. And
I'm just going to pause this very briefly because I don't know. I mean, it says that it's sharing. And it says stop sharing. I'm just concerned that you're not seeing it because Annemiek says not yet. Okay, Sammy's screen to broadcast. I have to click broadcast. This is all a brand new learning experience. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Okay, so can you see? Can you see my screen? The challenge is that because it's so far behind on the Facebook thing, I can't see what you're seeing. Aha! Ah! I think we're there. I think we're there. Okay, we're good to go. Perfect. I am going to share this again, and I hope that you can hear me. I hope that you can hear me at the same time. So perfect. Here we go.
You don't analyze it because, you know, otherwise you get sort of paralysis of analysis. And you just go for it. I mean, take the presentation that I'm about to do. Have I done that presentation before? No. Am I you know, going out on a limb on certain things that I'm going to be doing? Yes. Will it work? I hope that. But I will never know. I will never know. So many of us try and process the thing up here rather than experiencing something. We hang around until we try and make it perfect. And our gift, the real gift that's inside us, just doesn't get out for whatever reason. And so, you know, for me, it's just, oh, well, I didn't work. Let's find another way. if that happens, and how else can you have so many moments which influence you, and then you get to do what I'm doing right now, which is to be able to talk about those moments, right? So you gotta get there and experience it. Exactly.
And when, as an entrepreneur, I mean, you have seen a lot, you've heard a lot, you've done a lot, and obviously met a lot of people. I would imagine you are into your hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people that have. I mean, you've made how many millions of impacts is it that you have made on just through one company that you're building now? And we'll talk about that in a minute. How many millions of impacts was it?
Well, actually, I checked it this morning because I'm actually talking. That's one of the things I was going to talk about this morning. In this one here in San Jose, it's 163,270,000 actually. So that's the real number. So yeah.
And each impact, life changed.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at each one. The way we look at that actually is we just look at it as a smile. You know, each one of those is a smile. And you're going to be choked up now, see? Because Because, you know, think about that. And by the way, that's when we're at our best, isn't it? Not, you know, thinking about ourselves and all that sort of stuff, but we're thinking about the influence, the impact that we can have on those around us. And now, you know, I mean, this is a great example of it, because here you are in wherever you are this morning. Here I am wherever I am this morning. And then there's everyone else joined around us, which was never possible before. I mean, how lucky are we to be living in this amazing, amazing time when it is just so much easier to, I mean, you know, I could be, please take this the right way, I could be starting a business right now in my bedroom. I could. And I mean, exactly. And I think that's also going to continue. And I think it's going to continue and increase. And here's the reason. I think that you mentioned the word just a little while ago. And I think there are so many people, thousands, who, and one expression of it is when they might be in, you know, corporate environments, not knocking corporate environments, but they get home at the end of the day, and then before they put their head on the pillow, they get this thing, which is that all there is? Is that all there is? Yeah, and the reality is, it's not. And now it's, you know, way back when it was probably, you know, a little bit challenging than it is today. But gosh, today you can just go and just do it and just see what happens and add that to the experience. And the experience that, you know, you can influence others, the children that are around you, all of that kind of stuff. What do they need to, what do we need to be sharing with them? We need to be sharing with them that opportunity is just everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Both you and I, you know, I mean, I know a lot of them, you know, 10 or 11-year-old kids who are doing things, you know, in an entrepreneur sense of the word, and just doing amazing. Wow, how'd that happen? How it happened is because they took the first step. Interesting enough, a friend of mine who's a magician, but he just moved to Southern California, and he was actually keynoting on day one here. And he did this amazing thing. Have a listen to this. He had us, oh, there's so many of them. It was like, wow, it's so cool. But anyway, he had us standing next to each other, and I'm sure you've done this. And he said, okay, just turn your back on the person, you know, so the back-to-back kind of thing. And he said, make 33 changes and then turn around and say, and everyone's going, oh, well, I couldn't possibly make 33. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Where do I start, right? So then he had us turn around again, and he said, you know, how do you feel? And he said, okay, well, maybe I made that too hard. So then he said, okay, so let's just turn around and let's just make one change. And so I remember in my case, I just rolled up my sleeve like that. And he said, okay, turn around and see if you can see the change that the other person has made as well. Oh, yeah, well, I see you've taken your glasses off, right? See this. And he said, okay, turn around again and make another one. So then we made another one, and then we turned around. Oh, you go. And then he made the really interesting point. And the most interesting point was this. If he had kept going and said, okay, make another one, and we get to 3, make another one, get to 4. He could have just kept going, and we would have all gotten to 33, right? But we never would have gotten there unless we'd taken the first step.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? And so that first step is really, and then guess what? Oh, that's interesting. Let me take another one. Oh, look at that. Let's take another one. So, and it was a great metaphor for how you create impact, or how you have a greater impact, and how you influence those around you. And it comes from just taking the step.
And that's such an important point. And for those of you that are watching now, and you might be at a stage in your business where, you know, you can see there's like a million steps to be taken, and maybe you're focusing on how many freaking steps there are. But ultimately, as Paul's saying, just take that one step, because when we think too big, you know, it's great to think big. You know, in December, we're going to be thinking vision. We're going to be thinking about 12 months worth of vision. Paul's going to be there. I'm so excited. And we're thinking about how you're going to innovate that, how you're going to build your movement, how you're going to master your message, how you're going to get out to the world and speak and use your voice to get out there in all the ways that are possible and create the best visibility campaign. So you go, even if you're at 0, you can go to hero. I did it in 12 weeks. We'll be sharing some of the things that we did. But ultimately, when you've thought about that, we just need to come back to that first step, because overwhelm can create analysis paralysis. And, you know, when you're confused, other people are going to get confused, and nobody buys in the state of confusion. Paul, how do you manage that? How do you manage being, because you've created such significant businesses over the years, how do you manage it when you're a visionary of like the most extraordinary kind? So when Masami was sharing her vision with you about buy one, give one, how did you say, right, okay, let's look up here, but no, we've got to come right back down here? How do you manage that when being such a visionary?
Well, it's exactly that. I remember it very well. I do remember that. We just had a series of whiteboards. You know, so she's come up with this thing saying, wouldn't it be great if every time business was done in the world, something great happened? There you go. That'd be really awesome.
Yeah.
But then you go, oh my God, how do you do that? Okay, well, literally, this is what we did. Literally, we put some whiteboards up and flip charts, and said, okay, how? But the first thing we did was recognize that that's one heck of a magnet. Right? Wow, is that worth doing? That's unbelievably worth doing, right? But you know, you're not going to be able to do it tomorrow, I imagine. But now, by the way, there's all sorts of ways you can accelerate that. But so we said, okay, so is it worth? You know, does that ring your bell? Does that excite you? Does that give you a lump in your throat? Is that the sort of thing that when you say to others, when you describe it in a particular way, and we'll be talking about how you do this, by the way, when you get together.
Yes.
How do you do it so that when you express it, people say, oh my God, I so want to be a part of that. How do you do that, right? So anyway, we had all these things up, and actually in our case, believe it or not, it was 3 years of trying to figure out how to do it. Now it wasn't exactly that we said, okay, let's take 3 years. I mean, you're busy as anything every day, put in place the structures.
Yeah.
But and that comes back again. There were a certain number of steps, you know, that needed to be taken. We needed to, you know, find amazing projects. We needed to develop systems and processes, all of those things. But it just became, oh wow, is that where I don't quite know how to get there. I don't quite know how to get there. But what I know is that when I get there, I'm going to feel fantastic. And by the way, here's the other interesting thing. When you get there, whatever there is, right, you're looking around, you go, oh my goodness, I can now do that, right? And someone said the other day, I said, you know, I said in November, actually, just when you and I meet in December, it will be, let's see, I will be 8 days after my 75th birthday. And people go, you're kidding me, right? You're kidding me, which is really nice. I mean, you know, and I'm sure they're just really nice. But here's the thing. If you and I can create that always being curious, you know, just curious and recognizing that there's more. And I don't mean that by that there's more to get. I don't mean that. I mean, there's more to contribute. There's more to stretch yourself. There's more to be who you were put here to be, right? And you weren't put here to be ordinary. You weren't. I mean, that's just the way it is. Right? You're there to be this, you know, this amazing human being that's there. It's, yeah. I mean, you're so right, by the way, when you said, you know, people look and they go, oh, well, that must have been easy. Well, actually, I don't know that I ever thought it was hard. I don't even know that I thought it was hard. What I knew was it was worthwhile doing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And because of that, you know, you get up every morning kind of driven by that, and away it goes. Yeah. And by the way, I think when our kids see us doing that, what a legacy to leave to our kids when they see that, you know, we were doing that kind of thing, right? And they look around and go, "Wow, that's pretty cool." You know, like what Mum was doing there. I think, I'll do that. And so that's just a legacy that we leave without even thinking about the legacy. You know. Do you see what I'm saying?
I do. Just to recap on that legacy for our viewers that have come in. You were talking. You're speaking at the same conference with Steve Jobs and many of the greats that have spoken with you today. You're speaking at that conference centre in Silicon Valley, and you're speaking on legacy. So let's just recap for our viewers that have come in halfway through.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. But I think, you know, another way of thinking about that is the influence or the impact that we have. What's you know, what are we leaving in every moment, right? Are we, you know, when I came into the center this morning, did I just come in through the door and come up the stairs? Well, the lady opened the door and I said, "Hey, thank you for that. What a great smile you've got." You know, oh. And it's simple stuff like that, isn't it? That you start to live, and as a result, you live an even fuller life, and that's just a great gift to be able to do that.
And the more full you are in your life, the more full you are in your business. And I love the leaving legacy in every moment. Somebody was talking to me the other day about legacy. I can't remember who it was, but they said something, because, you know, I'm known for building legacies. And I think it was my dad or someone actually said to me, "Well, but, you know, what do you see as a legacy? You know, is it about leaving something?" And I said to him, "Well, does it need to be about leaving something when you die? Can it not be creating something that can make an impact now? Do we need to wait until we're, you know, beyond this earth suit before we start to make an impact?" Now, some of the greatest artists of all time did that, but we don't have to. We can make that difference right now, and you can make that impact and leave that lasting legacy, even like you said, with a smile. Imagine the butterfly effect of that. You've made a great compliment. He feels great. He goes and does something nice for somebody else. They feel great. They go and do something nice. And that could have saved someone's life that day, just from that one act of kindness.
Absolutely could. Absolutely right. So, yeah, it's, and this is how, you know, we have, it really is, you know, how we have a life that's full. Just going, hang on, what's my responsibility here? Right? My responsibility is to experience it, and to experience it at the fullest, I think. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess it does. It makes a lot of sense. And ultimately, because we're talking about how to make that global impact, ultimately, it's got to start with here first. It's really funny. As you were talking, it reminded me of a conversation I was having with my friend a couple of weeks ago, Marie Diamond from The Secret. She's going to be at the same
Oh, my goodness.
She's going to be
I know. I saw that. I saw that. Wow. Yeah, I know. I saw that.
We're chatting about the conference and what's coming up, and she's going to be speaking 3 times. She's got a lot of things. We're talking about movement, where The Secret went wrong, and how they saved it, and how they turned that into the global phenomenon.
It's a great story, Emma. It's a great story.
And it is, and again, you know, we look at things and think, "Oh, well, it's all right for them, they're there," but they haven't always been there. Anyway, Maria and I were chatting the other day, and she said, "You know what, Sammy? I realised what an impact I have made when I walked into my daughter's room the other day and found her delivering a Zoom conference with her school friends on, you know, mindset and, you know, and positivity." And she said, "Well, Mum, I'm here to make an impact." And she's like, I don't know, 14 or 15 or something.
There you go.
So when we show up, our kids show up. And when our kids show up, they'll show up for someone else. And so we can make a huge difference to the generations that are to come, and the generations that are in a period of transition where, you know, there's some closed minds that are making changes and shifts, but I've noticed there's been a massive mindset shift, and spirituality is more accepted than ever before. Being happy at work, happy in life, it's no longer a fluffy thing, it's a credible thing that people are paid a lot of money to come in to organisations and make sure that happens, because burnout is a crazy problem. And I bet you see a lot of that for the people that you're around that are building global brands. It's so easy when you love something so much. And I love what you said when you were talking about almost like the pre-qualifying points. You know, does this business, does it light me up? Does it give me a lump in my throat? I think that's a great qualifying question. You know, but when you feel that way about what you do, it's easy to burn out because you can give so much. Do you see a lot of that?
Okay.
How do you see us solving that potentially?
Well, yeah, you really can. That's true, and I think it depends on the rituals that you have, you know. And I don't think this is the total answer to your question, but I think it is part of it. And so it's like, what do you do? Like, how do you get your body to rest and, you know, all of that, which it needs, right? Yeah. And the answer, and then how do you get it started again, right? And the answer to that, I think, is one word, and it's gratitude, right? And it's just being able to sort of sit back and run and sort of stress about, oh my God, this happened today, oh God, you know, which is really taking away from you. Just change it around and just go, what can I be grateful for today? What is it that I could be grateful for today? And of course, you know, just the fact that you're here is like a good start, right? And then, you know, when you get up in the morning, right, same deal, exactly the same deal. We have this thing, you know, with kids where we sit around dinner time. We have this thing called a gratitude journal, right? And we just fill in the gratitude journal, and it's quite amazing. You know, I remember when I did it, and I thought my then 7-year-old son would freak out, and I said, "Okay, Kai, so what are you grateful for today? You just want to make a note of it." And he said, "I'm grateful for the sun." And I went, "Why is that?" And he said, "Because the sun is the flowers. The flowers go." And I go, "Oh my God!" See? And there you go on this whole thing that everything is connected. It really is. But also, I was looking, you know, when you were talking just a moment ago, I was actually, it was like, if anyone, when they play back the video, they're going to go, "Ooh, look how cool it was." Like he was really sort of focused, because I was just noticing the way you were doing it. I mean, you're radiant. There's, you know, it's like as if, and I think this is the thing, right? It's like when we realize what we actually can do, and when we realize that we've got this sort of big enough, not big enough, but there's this idea that there's more that we can do, it sends out, I don't understand it, Sammy, maybe you do, and I know the guys that did The Secret, you know, have views on how this works, but it's kind of like there's this magnet that sort of switches on, and it, like as if you're plugged into something. And, you know, you just look at you, you're like this. Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Sorry, a friend of mine, Jay Facette, he uses that analogy, and you know, when he's on stage and he's literally there and he's like, "Look, I've got my plug. I need to plug into somewhere. Who are you? Where I need to find you. I know you're here, and I know you know, and I've got this plug, and it's ready." And you know, and he really talks about, you know, there is somebody out there right now, probably millions of people out there right now in reality, who are there with their plug, and you are the solution, and they need to plug into what it is that you know. And you've already solved the problem that they're looking for, and you know, and they've got this plug, and you've got the socket, and you just got to find each other. But so how do you do that? You know, this is a terrible thing.
Yeah, well, see, now it's interesting you say that, because you know, in a little while, I've got to, you know, go walk up on that stage. Now, here's the interesting question: when you walk up on that stage, what do you say? And you know, to yourself, right? And can I just tell you what I say? It's hopefully okay. Well, actually, it's changed, because for a long time I used to say, here's what I used to say: I would get to this place. A friend of mine said, years ago, he said, "Paul, you know, do you get butterflies when you speak?" And I said, "Well, of course I do." He said, "Well, that's good, right? Because that sort of gets the right thing." He said, "The trick is to get the butterflies flying in formation." So that's the trick. So, which means you've got to say something to yourself. So for a long time, Sammy, what I would be at the back, and whilst I'm being introduced, I would be, and those of you who are joining us in December, you'll see that. So, well, you won't. You'll be focused on the stage, but I just need you to know that I'll be back there, and here's what I'll be doing. And I'll be just talking to myself. What I used to say was this. What I used to say was, for them, for them, for them, for them, for them, which was, for me, was all about getting it off me and really understanding the reason that I'm there. And then I saw this amazing film, came out of Denmark, as I recall, and it was about this reality. And just very quickly, how it began, it began on a white background. There was this big guy, and with rolled up sleeves and tattoos everywhere, and rings and everything. I mean, a Harley rider, And I remember my reaction was, oh God! And then someone else comes on, and equally kind of, quote unquote strange, right? And I go, oh, and then all these people coming on, and then everybody just sort of coalesced towards each other, and they just hugged each other. And the message came up on the screen. This was done by the government, of all things. And it came up on the screen, we all are one. And I thought, now you and I know that the truth is we all are one. Right? That's the truth. And so that from that day, I remember it was a Saturday, a rainy day in Singapore, and I just happened to be looking at the thing. So now, in a couple of minutes, when I go on that stage, I changed it. And here's what I say. For us, for us, for us, for us, for us. And that's acknowledging something that I'm sure you know, and that is when we are in this very privileged position of, being able to work with people in the audience and take them on a journey and everything else. We're actually learning as we go as well. And the for us kind of says to me, hey, I'm on the journey with you, It's, so.
Yeah, that's incredibly powerful. Because quite often, especially when we're talking about videos and podcasting, and you're putting yourself out there for the first time, and for those of you that are in business for the first time, or maybe you've been in business a while and you recognize it, you need to start using video, you need to start using podcasting, you need to start doing more webinars, you need to start doing more speaking. It can be terrifying. I remember being terrified when I first had to do it. But one of the things I realized was that whilst ever I was thinking about myself, oh my God, what if I forget my content? Oh, what if I don't sound right? What if they don't understand me? What if I speak too fast? Blah, 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 blah. Well, as ever I'm thinking about me, I'm getting more nervous. The moment that I say, do you know what, this isn't about me, I have something that is going to make an extraordinary difference to their life. And if I don't get up and stand up and share that, then it's you that's missing out. So it's you that I need to be here to serve. And talk to them like it's your best friend. And it's amazing the difference that just that little tip for people has given. Especially when you're building a global brand, the best way to do that is to impact in a way that you can reach one-to-one millions of times. Many people use the expression one-to-many, but I believe it's one-to-one many times.
Oh no, it's always one-to-one. Always one-to-one.
Yeah.
I remember when we write ads or whatever it is or mailing pieces. Frequently people go things like they say, well, hello everyone, something like that, right? Or they say many of us. And many of you is the typical line. Many of you will have been. And whenever I see that, I go, hang on a second, what are you missing out here? And what happens is they go, oh my God, I'm writing to, or I'm up to, 10,000 people or whatever it is. That's scary. No, there's only one pair of eyes watching that every time. There's a lot of eyes, but there's only one pair. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And we need to remember that. And when we remember that, all of a sudden, as you so perfectly said, it's just one-on-one. Even though there might be zillions of people watching it, they're all watching it at that moment with just one pair of eyes.
So, Paul, I think as we come to the end of this, I know you've got to shoot and speak in front of 5,500 people. Such a small thing to do. I'm so honoured that you're coming to play with us in December, and I think one piece of advice that you could give to me and those people that are watching about really building that global brand. What would that one thing be? What would your legacy in this moment for us be?
I think it's a great question. Thank you. I think a great answer there is to always understand why you're doing what you're doing. Never lose sight of that. You know, it's not about the thing. It's not about all of those things. Although it's about why you're doing it. You know, your purpose. That is there. What Stephen Covey once described as your North Star. And if you can be clear about that, and also really understand as well that when you're talking with people, all of us have this need, this human need to belong. We really do. We're looking to connect and so on. And you know, you can be the center of that. You really can, by applying lots and lots of things. But really to understand that you know, you're there in that moment because of you believing in why you're doing it at that moment. And once you can get clear on that, and we'll be talking about that, once you get clear on that, it underpins everything. It absolutely underpins it. And all of a sudden, you know, you can just be not driven so much as pulled, if that makes sense. And then as a result of that, others just go, was it Simon Sinek? It was, my friend Simon. He said, you know, people don't buy what you do, they buy what you believe in.
Yeah.
And so to be able to get to that point where you believe in it so strongly that it's just there, you know, wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
It is.
So that would be it for today. Yeah.
Well, I love it. I love you.
By the way, my one piece of advice might change on December when we're in this, right? You know.
So many things change, don't they? In a heartbeat, life changes.
They do.
Customers change. You know, the way that people think changes, and that's one of the key mistakes that I see entrepreneurs making, whether building something globally or locally, is making assumptions, because it does make an ass out of everyone. And when you get to the point where you think, right, I've solved it, I've cracked it, this is how I need to speak to my target audience, something will happen, life will change, something will change, and you need.
Well, I mean, you're a great example of that. You know, you were in the US recently, you know, when all those hurricanes were there, you know. And I mean, gosh, you know, here you were expecting X people and then Y people turn up. What do you do? You know, what do you do? I mean, and here's the thing. Let's suppose, for the sake of discussion, that something, not terrible, but something happened where there was a transport strike or something, and only one person turned up. Just let's imagine only one person turned up. Here's the question. Would I get on stage for that one person? You bet I would.
Yeah. You
bet I would. Does that make sense? It's because you have something inside you which just, you know, you've got to get out.
And to that point, I mean, that exact point when we were in Orlando and the hurricanes are happening, and it's like, I mean, luckily it went past us in Orlando, but it stopped many of the people that were coming from Tallahassee and the coast coming to the event. But, you know, what was great was I think we had 11 people in the room. All 11 people were there because they really wanted to be. And the one guest in the room who was there, didn't know anything about Brand Builders Club or anything we were doing, couldn't wait to sign up, didn't even get to the end of the day. It was after lunch, right? I want to be a part of this. How do I do it, you know? And I think if you can even just make that impact on one person. Now, she then came up to me at the end of the day and said, I love what you're doing so much. I want to be part of the leadership team. How do I build this in Colorado or wherever it was that she was talking about? And we get it all the time. So even if you share, you just... oh my gosh, like if you could impact one person in a way that positively influences them, that lights them up, that empowers them, that does something for them in their life, imagine what they are going to go and do with that as a result. Like that one person, you could connect with 20 million people. And I think too often, you know, like Nancy Matthews, in fact, you're going to meet Nancy's sister, Trish. Nancy has a book and it's called The One. It's being the one. It's showing up as the one anyway. It's, you know, we say, oh, I've got this web designer. They're the one. They're the one that's going to help me. Or, oh, I've met the one. You know, this is the one for life. I think we treat everybody like they are the one. Imagine what the ripple effect would be like as a result of that. I love Nancy's work.
Why not? Yeah, why not? In fact, a friend of mine had a situation like that here yesterday. And he afterwards, when he'd finished, this lady came up to him and said, "Oh, I I was just waiting to be in this room. It feels like I was waiting to be in this room all my life. And then she just cried. And my friend Steve, he sent me a text and he told me the thing. He said, and I cried too, right? And that's that wonderful moment, isn't it? When, you know, when we do what we're designed to do, which is to connect and to share meaning and purpose. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Right?
What
a cool thing.
Together. So speaking of stuff that we're doing together, so we've got in December, we're going to be playing quite a bit. So tell us a bit about, you've got an event for the very first time in a long time. You and Masami are going to be together and doing a world tour. So tell us a little bit about that, because it's just before our conference. So for people that are
it's called Impact. Impact. Yeah, called Impact.
Wow.
Funnily enough, called Impact, the World Tour. And we're going to be doing that, as you said. Masami and I, the co-founders, if you will, of Beyond Human, are going to be on the stage for the first time for 8 years, and that's going to be together, right? And that's going to be so exciting because she's just this different kind of energy and everything else. I always say that she can get on stage and just say hello, and people say, "Where do I sign?" No, she really is. I mean, just to be there, and obviously I'm biased, but to be there with her and experience that. So that's in that's in London on the 4th of December, and then the 5th it's in Manchester, and then the 6th in Edinburgh, and then of course you and I get together. I'll be down there in Gatwick. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited, Paul. Well, I wish you the greatest of luck, even though you don't need it, the greatest of joy, I should say, as you are speaking on stage today. Legacy in Silicon Valley. Is it the first time you've been in Silicon Valley to speak? Or
Oh, no, because I used to, back in the old Hewlett Packard days, but I mean, everything has changed. I mean, that was, so it's the first time I've been here at the San Jose Convention Center. Yeah.
Well, I'm sending you loads of love, loads of light, and shine that beautiful heart that you have on the world. It made a bloody awesome difference, and I can't wait.
I'm going to be kind of like hyper, just as a result of talking to you. Sammy, thank you for having me here, but more importantly, thank you for just providing this space where people can come to, and not only would it have massive impact on their lives, sometimes called changing their lives, but massive impact, but them being able to leverage that out just because they were here with you, to leverage that out, to so many people, and then and then see those lives change and those lives change. I think it was Steve Jobs, just right here, said something about making a dent in the universe, and that's what we have the opportunity to do.
Wow, how exciting. I can't wait to take care, have an amazing day, and I will see you in a few weeks. Bon voyage.
Well, looking forward to it. Okay. Bye. Thanks, Sammy. Bye.
Wow, what a guy, right? I am so excited to be playing with Paul. I hope that you can see my screen again now. I'm just checking because of the delay that's happening on Facebook. Okay, yes, I can see that I'm back. Awesome. So this is your time to shine. There has never been a better time. And as Paul was saying, really think about what you're doing and how you're doing it and why you're doing it. That's the most important one. As he said, Simon Sinek, he said, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So get really focused on that. That's what's going to take you global. When you have something that gets that lump in your throat, that juices you up, that gives you fire in your belly, something to stand for. Maybe it's something to stand against. But when you have something that you care so deeply about, the universe can't help but get involved. It becomes a magnet. So if you're finding that things aren't happening for you as fast as you want them to right now, just do a little review of how excited are you about what you're doing. If you're not excited about it, the universe isn't going to get excited about it, and your ideal clients aren't going to get excited about it. And that is not going to take you global, and you're not going to make the impact that you were here to make. So I wish you lots and lots of love, light, and success. I can't wait to see you this time next week for our next Brand Breakthrough show. If you would like to be interviewed on the Brand Breakthrough show, let me know. Annemiek, I would love to interview you as one of our sponsors for the Vision, Voice and Visibility Conference in December. If you haven't got your ticket yet, hang on. There's a little ticker tape thing that I think that I worked out earlier, but never mind. Anyway, if you want to get your ticket, I think there's only about 8 tickets left. So make sure that you let me know. Write me a message. We haven't put this out for public consumption at all. It's been by personal invitation and the people that are in our network. There are only a few guests that are coming because we've made those seats absolutely for you, to make sure that you're there learning, building, branding and expanding, and being that brand that you want to see in the world so you can reach more lives. So let's do that together. If you haven't got your ticket yet, make sure that you message me on Facebook and I will get your ticket sorted for you. And I will look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care, lots of love, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.